Orange County, Florida is putting a rent control ordinance on the ballot this November. And if it passes, it would limit how much landlords could raise their rents for the next year. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting topic, and it's all about rent control, okay? I have said over and over and over again that rent control is a failed idea, okay? It does not work. Simply put, when you put an artificial government, price cap on anything, what does it do? It increases demand and it decreases the supply of that thing. And that leads to shortages and higher costs. Okay, overall, it would be a very, very bad thing, and a really bad thing when it's only for a little small jurisdiction. I brought this whole topic up, when I was talking about St. Paul, Minnesota, which is much, much closer to me here in the Midwest, right? But now this same nonsense is going on in Florida. Why did the same stupid ideas keep getting brought up and people just don't seem to understand the flawed logic behind them? I mean, it is so dumb in my opinion. Yet, let's try rent control again. Maybe this time it'll work. No, it will never work. It will never, ever work. It gets old. It gets so old. Yeah, I know that housing costs have gone up. Everyone knows that, and it's not just in Florida. Florida might have suffered the highest housing cost increases, but that's not because of the landlords doing anything bad, right? It is because of inflation, and it is due to the fact that, hey, a lot of people want to move to Florida. Okay, a lot of people want to move there. And, with such high demand, prices are bound to go up. Throw on top of that a hurricane that went through and destroyed a lot of housing, and now there's even less supply. Guess what? Prices are just, they're skyrocketing. But the solution will never be these artificial price controls. The only solution that we have is, hey, we have to build more. Build more, build more, build more. And the amount they're building now just isn't enough to, satisfy all the need. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think is the best solution to this affordable housing crisis, okay? And, if the best solution isn't building, I'm 99% sure it's not rent control either. So, maybe there's somewhere some sort of different solution that we can come up with. I don't think that government housing is a good idea either. I don't think that most of the ideas that these people they come up with, they're absolutely ridiculous, and they have to do with, hey, we want to punish the landlord. We want to punish the real estate developers. We want to punish them because they're rich and we're not. That's the logic behind them. We want a free handout so that we can live for cheaper for free. And I just think it's stupid, okay? And it all falls back down to, my favorite thing that I hate the most, socialism. So let's get into this article. This article is coming from WMFE.org, and it says, rent stabilization measure to give cash-strapped Orange County families breathing room, advocates say. Yeah, advocates say a lot of stuff. Oh, they're gonna have some breathing room. This might not solve anything. So anyway, let's get into the article. Advocacy groups are calling on Orange County voters to approve a measure on the November ballot aimed at stabilizing skyrocketing rents. The one-year emergency measure would limit rent increases for some tenants. It would apply only to multifamily properties with at least 4 units, and there are other exemptions. And keep in mind, they said right there that this would be an emergency measure and it would only last for 1 year. So even with a price cap that only lasts for 1 year, it's not going to help very many people at all, okay? So I don't exactly understand the point of putting it on there. except for the fact that then you realize, oh well, maybe if the people get used to the fact that their rent is capped, they will continue to extend it out further, so beyond the 1 year, and it'll be 2 years, and it'll be 5 and 10, and then next thing you know, this thing has been in place permanently, essentially. So yeah, if this even passes, it is a very, very bad thing for landlords. Now, I was kind of curious of more what the rent stabilization law that they are proposing said. So I found a different article, and it's coming from the Orlando Sentinel. And, it talks a little bit more in detail about what is being proposed, right? And it says here, the Florida statute mandates that before rent restrictions can be imposed, the local. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the other part there. So I'm sorry. If voters approve the rent stabilization measure, the ordinance would impose a 1 year cap of rent hikes for potentially 104,000 apartments in Orange County at 9.8%, a percentage equal to the increase of the consumer price index for urban consumers in the South. Right? So yeah, this would only apply to apartment buildings with more than 4 units, and it would cap it at the increase in the consumer price index, which is 9.8%. So a lot of people are probably thinking, well, 9.8% seems fair, but as I mentioned in some of my other rent control videos, right, there are landlords out there who haven't raised rents on their tenants in years, and their rents are far, far below market rate. So just as an example, let's say that the market rate for rent in 2-bedroom apartment is $1,000 a month, right? There's some landlords out there right now who are only charging $500 a month. So if they wanted to raise their rate up, not even to the 1,000, which is the market rate, but to 750, they would be in violation of this law. The only thing they could do, approximately 10%, they could raise their rate up by $50 a month. So they could raise their rate from $500 to $550 a month. And that's horrible. That's, basically what I'm saying is they are cheating landlords out of money. Now, if a landlord chooses on their own to charge a lower rent, that's completely different. But having the government tell you what you can and cannot do with your property is, it shouldn't be what's going on here. This is a business just like anything else. And we deserve to be able to make a profit and be able to make money. So let me get back to this original article. Okay. Burbeth Foster of the Community Justice Project, a nonprofit legal organization, says the measure would help take the immediate pressure off financially strapped families. That will provide breathing room to communities and families, and will provide actually commissioners and other elected officials time that they need to craft long-term housing solutions. See what I mean? They say, oh, it's an emergency measure, it'll only last a year, but they're just giving time to these, far left-leaning politicians who are trying to get some anti-landlord legislation passed. That's all they need. So that's why I said, we let this pass. If this passes and is voted in, then, the next year, all of a sudden the emergency will last another year, or the emergency will last 5 years, or whatever. So this could end up being a never-ending rent control thing put in place. And you think, 9.8%, oh, that's fair. Well, what happens when, what if we start to have deflation? Okay? Think about that for a minute. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what happens if we come up and we're like, oh, well, there's been some deflation. So now, what do you have to drop your rents lower than they were the year before? Well, I mean, there's no explanation of what exactly is going to happen. Even if inflation is only 1%, you'd be screwed. Anyway, this whole rent control nonsense, it has always angered me because they don't even read about the economics of why this doesn't work, and they pass these stupid measures that they make the people feel good, but I guarantee that, hey, this isn't actually going to help the people that you think it's going to help. Okay. If the referendum passes, the Florida Apartment Association says it will fight the measure in court. Joanne Paradin of the consulting firm The Optima Network says unaffordable rents force tenants to make difficult choices between housing and I don't give a crap. Okay. Tenants always have to make a difficult choice. Are you going to pay your bills? That's the main question I have for you. Are you going to pay what you promised that you would pay, or what? Okay. I mean, if you're not going to pay, then you need to go. And demanding that, hey, landlords, they shouldn't be able to raise rents on their buildings. Well, that's stupid. It's just dumb. That's like saying, going down to the grocery store and saying, no, you can't raise the price of food because then I won't be able to afford it. Nobody does that. Why? Because it would be stupid. And it's the same stupidity that they're trying to use against landlords.